Hey there, welcome to this video. My name is Jan Zuiderduin. I'm the founder of LearnSolidWorks.com, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to model this beautiful shell light. And as you can see in the feature tree right here, it's not that hard to model as you might think right now, because we're only going to use 5 features in order to model this beautiful light yourself. Alright guys, now if you want you can download the working files for this tutorial under this video. But without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to start by making a new part. So therefore we're going to click at File, select New. We're going to select the part option right here. Now click OK. And now we have created a new part. Alright, now we're going to make sure that our measurements are set to millimeters. Now in order to check and to change this, you can click at the lower right corner right here. And if you click right here, you can set it to millimeters or any other value you want. But in this case, we're going to use millimeters. And I'm going to make sure that the background is all white. So in case you also want to change your background to all white, you can click at the drop down menu right here and click at the plain white option right here. Alright, now I'm going to make my planes visible, and therefore I'm going to my feature tree right here. I'm going to select the front plane, hold down your shift key and select the right plane. Now release your shift key, right click and click at the eye icon, and now our planes are visible. Alright, so we're going to start this lesson by modeling the main vertical axis of our light. And we're going to do that on the top plane, so therefore we're going to select the top plane right here, click at the 2D sketch icon, and we're going to draw a circle. So go to the sketch command right here, select a circle, and we're going to make sure that the circle will start at the origin right here. So zoom in a little bit and now draw a circle. Now right click select in order to close the circle command, and now we're going to apply a diameter of 3 millimeters to the circle. So therefore click at smart dimensions. We're going to select the circle right here. Make sure that the diameter is set to 3 millimeters, just like that. Now click OK, and now we're going to create an extruded boss base. So therefore we're going to click at the Features tab right here, select Extruded Boss Base, and now we're going to extrude our newly created circle, and therefore we're going to make sure that the depth is set to 179 millimeters. So type in 179, hit enter, and we're going to make sure that the extrude is pointing upwards like this, and now click OK. Alright, this looks good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create one big circle right here, and then later on we're going to use that circle in order to create a circular pattern. So therefore we're going to create a new sketch on the front plane. So select the front plane in the feature tree, click at the 2D sketch icon. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to start by making a vertical center line right here, and then we're going to draw the circle. And the vertical center line will be something we will use later on for the circular pattern. So you might be wondering why I'm drawing this center line, but it will all be clear in a minute. So we're going to click at the center line command right here, and we're going to make sure that the center line will start at the upper end point of the extrude, somewhere up till here. Make sure it's a vertical center line. Now right click select in order to close the centerline command. And now you can barely see our centerline because our planes are also visible. So therefore I'm going to make my planes invisible. And you can do so by going to View, Hide Show, and click at the planes right here in order to make them invisible. And now you can see our newly created centerline. Now we're going to make sure that the length of this centerline will be set to 2 millimeters. So we're going to click at Smart Dimensions. We're going to select the center line, type in 2, and now we're going to click OK. And this value we will later use for our circular pattern. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create one big circle right here, and therefore we're going to click at the circle command. We draw a random circle right here, right click select, and we're going to make sure that the diameter of this circle is set to 110 millimeters. So type in 110, just like that. All right, now click OK. Now we're going to make sure that the upper end point of the circle will be connected to this point right here. And therefore I'm going to create a new point. So click at the point command right here. We're going to create a point on this upper end point of the circle. Right click select. And now we're going to click and drag our endpoint, and we're going to snap it to the lower endpoint of the center line right here, just like that. And now you can see that the circle turns black, which means it's fully defined. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a thin extrude of this circle, and therefore we're going to Features, Extruded Boss Base. We're going to make sure that the direction 1 is set to mid-plane. We're going to make sure that the depth is set to 5 millimeters, and because we set this direction to mid-plane, the extrude will be going in both directions like this. We're going to make sure that the merge result is enabled because we want to connect those two bodies to each other. And now we're going to click at the thin feature right here. So select thin feature, make sure it's set to one direction, and we're going to make sure that the direction is pointing inwards. So in this case, it's pointing outwards. So if you're going to click at the reverse direction button right here, we can adjust the direction. This looks good. And now we're going to make sure that the thickness is set to 1.5 millimeters, just like that. And now click OK. All right, now we have created the circle. Now I want to make it a little bit more interesting by making this circle more round. Now there are many ways to do this, but I will show you how you can do this using the fillet command, and therefore we're going to use an asymmetric fillet. So we're going to click at the fillet command right here, make sure to set it to asymmetric. Now we're going to adjust the distance right here and make sure that distance 1 is set to 0.75 millimeters and distance 2 is set to 2.5 millimeters. Now hit enter, and now we're going to select this edge right here. Now you can see that it's not generating a preview, which most likely means that the values need to be reversed. So therefore you can click at the reverse direction right here, and now you can see a preview of our newly created fillet. Now we will also want to create a fillet to this side, so select this edge, and you can see how it's generating a preview successfully. If it's not generating a preview, you can reverse the direction again. Now we're also going to select this one right here. Now you can see that the preview is disappearing, so we're going to reverse the direction, and we're also going to select this edge right here. Now we can see a successful preview right here. So this looks good. Now we can also change the profile. It's currently set to elliptic, but you can also set it to curvature continuous, for example, for a more curvature shape. But in this case, we will keep it to elliptic. This looks good. So now we're going to click OK. And now we have created a beautiful round circle. All right, this looks good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a circular pattern, but not a regular circular pattern, but one that's also twisting along this axis. So this is basically where the magic happens. So pay attention. In order to create this circular pattern, we're going to click with the drop-down menu right here, select circular pattern, make sure direction 1 will be this axis right here. This looks good. And now we're going to make sure to set the number of instances to 27. And we want to make sure that this pattern is not only patterned in this direction, but also in this direction for 180 degrees. And therefore we're going to make sure to change this angle, and therefore I'm going to use my calculator because I want to divide my 180 degrees because that's the rotation we want to create, and I want to divide that by 27 instances. So type in 27 and this will be 6.66. Going to copy this and we're going to paste this into our angle value right here, just like that. Now we're going to click at the features and faces option right here. We're going to collapse the feature tree and we're going to select the extrude thin and the fillet. Make sure that the direction 1 is set to instant spacing. Now you can already see the preview right here. This looks pretty good. And the next thing we want to do, because we also want to pattern it in this direction, is that we're going to click at the instances to vary. And therefore we're going to use the sketch we created in the center line option at the start. So therefore we're going to click at this boss base extrude right here, select sketch 1, We're going to make it visible by right clicking and click at show. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to use this value right here, this 2mm value, to vary. So I'm going to select this one, and we're going to add an increment value to this. And we're going to make sure that this value is changing 2.5 millimeters with every single body. So we're going to double click at it, type in 2.5, hit enter. And now this will make sure that our circular pattern body is moving 2.5 millimeters with every single body. So you cannot see it in preview already, but if we now click OK, this might take a while because SOLIDWORKS needs to make many calculations. But if you click OK and wait for a while, you can see that we created our beautiful shell light. This looks pretty good, right? With only 4 features, as you can see right here. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply a fillet to the end sides of our axis. So click at the fillet command right here. We're going to select this edge right here and this lower edge right here. And this doesn't have to be an asymmetric fillet, so we're going to set it to symmetric. And we're going to add a value we want. So in this case, I think 1.5 is pretty good because it's a 3mm axis. So type in 1.5. Now click OK. And now we have created a beautiful fillet. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply some material to our shell light or a color. So I'm going to right click at the part right here, and I'm going to select the part, and I'm going to apply a color I like. So let's say we're going to apply an orange color, for example. This looks pretty good. Now click OK. And now, of course, we can turn off our shaded with edges and we can turn on the shaded. And this is the final result. All right, this looks pretty good. Now we're going to save our body. So click at the save command. And now we're going to change the name into shell light, for example. Now browse to a folder where you want to save your work. Click at save. And now you have created a beautiful light. Alright guys, that's all for this lesson. Hopefully you liked this tutorial and that you learned a few new things. Now if you want to learn more about SOLIDWORKS, I highly recommend to check out my website learnsolidworks.com, where you can find many more SOLIDWORKS product modeling tutorials and also a free workshop and many other things. So make sure to check that out as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I hope to talk to you in the next video.